host and creep mistress, Jessica. And tonight, I have a special announcement to make. First of all, hello to anyone who's already in the chat. Oh my God, MLav. Oh my God, J Cash. Oh my God, Grace, you're here. I know that you're here because... Okay, I have a special announcement to make. Unfortunately, my my co-host of many months, my friend and yours, Ben Scaria, has become very busy with his very cool improv theater, www.unioncomedy.com. So busy, in fact, that he unfortunately he just can't commit to this totally reasonably scheduled Twitch show. So, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the Midnight Creepout's new co-creep mistress, Grace Elin! Yay! Yay!
Yay!
Hi, Grace!
Hey!
How's
What's
it
up?
going? Is it how are
It
you?
feels wonderful. It feels wonderful. I
feeling
should get my
creepy?
sash on. I'm feeling so creepy. It's midnight.
Hey, Abolish the Senate.
I'm super
Yes.
excited.
It is midnight. Yeah, thanks so much for being here, Grace. Appreciate you.
Of course.
Yes, Grace has agreed to help me take on a little bit of a new format here at the Creep Out. So, what we're gonna do is what it has been is I've just been doing all the research for everything, and I am really tired. And so from here on out, we're gonna switch off. So like this week, I did all the research, and I'm telling Gross Elin all of the creepy stuff, and then next time she's gonna tell me all the creepy stuff, and I get to react in real time. So that should be fun because I do feel like you and I we differ a little bit in the things that we're prone to believe and not. How do you think we differ in what kind of creepy paranormal stuff we believe in?
I think we differ because I moved in and I brought my tarot cards and my Ouija board.
That's true, you did.
And I saged the house.
She did. She saged the house to get rid of the bad juju from the last roommate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am into the spiritual ghost stuff, I think. And I feel like you are not into that at all. You hit more the extraterrestrial outer space, which I
Bigfoot.
yeah, but for me I think the ghosts and stuff are more they're closer to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Jay
I have
Cash
a better
says she can't hear us
connection.
anymore. Yeah, right. Jay Cashin says we can't hear anymore. So if you can hear us, put something in the chat that says you can hear us. Can you hear us? MLav. Abolish the Senate. Can you hear us? Okay, great. Thanks. Sorry, Jay Cash.
Okay.
The problem is you. Hi, Pat Connolly. She said. Yes. So I believe that you are right. Yeah.
Just read the lips.
Yeah. You just have to read our lips. You'll live.
We don't have subtitles. I apologize.
Yeah. But doing that live is a little difficult.
Yeah.
So for those of you that know us, or maybe you don't, but I would like for you to put in the chat, which one of us do you think is more likely to lead a cult? Grace, don't say anything yet. I already know who I think is more likely to lead a cult, but I want the chat to let us know because this week we are talking about cults. How exciting. Yes, Rachel J. Andelman, who is not here yet, but she might pop in at any moment. She suggested to me that I look up this cult thing that's happening with like a TikTok star, and then that's kind of spiraled out over the past week. So I don't know. Well, we'll get there. We'll get there.
I didn't even think about the TikTok cults.
Yeah,
that is a real thing. That is a real thing.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, like social media has like cults like take off much more than they used to. But Grace, what do you know about cults already? What do you think of when you think of cults?
They excite me. I love cults. um, I just think
Hey,
it's
she's
so
here. Hey, Rachel.
fascinating. Hi, Rachel. I just think it's so fascinating. The like mind brainwashing. I don't know. It's so interesting because I think a lot of the leaders and stuff do at one point come at it from like a good standpoint, like they actually believe that they are doing something good until it
Mm-hmm.
hits that point, when all of a sudden they're just like, well, now I have all of this power and I can make it always gets to people's
Yeah,
heads.
I
um
think some of them start that way. Not all
some
of
of
them.
them.
So we've got some votes in the chat. Let's see. J Cash says she says she's I gotta go with Jess. She says in terms of which one of us is more likely to lead a cult. Let's see. Hold on. What else? MLav says Grace. Grace could lead the shit out of a cult, but so could Jess. I
Yeah,
think it's Grace. I think Grace is more
yes.
likely to lead a cult. Uh,
I
yeah,
have that. It's because I do so.
that's right, Apollo. That's right.
It's because I do that positive spin on things, and just the more realistic. I don't want to say negative, but more people tend to be drawn towards positive, and that's how a cult gets started. Because you're like, everything's
Yeah.
wonderful over here. We do this stuff. Life
Yep.
is wonderful. And you're the
Yep.
more realistic one where you're like, just so you know, that's not true, and things will not go well.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
Yeah. And people have
So
a harder time following that.
I agree with that. I absolutely agree. Grace, what are some big cults you can think of? What are the cults you think of when you think about cults?
Um, oh, that's a great question. Because what's so funny is like I don't even really know the names. I
Mm,
just know like the concept. There
okay.
was right, wasn't there like um this cult that like took over a whole little town? It was like an Indian cult. Am
Maybe.
I
There's a
there
lot of
was
them. There's a lot.
okay.
So who knows?
Um,
Who knows?
I know of like the family cult that like the parents had all the kids and made them have all their hair dyed blonde.
Oh my
It was like
gosh.
in the 80s or something. There was like 20 kids or something. They just kept like
Wow.
adopting kids and then dyeing their hair blonde, and like
What?
dressing them all. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No, I didn't come across that one. So I think a lot of people, when you talk about cults, I think most people think of like drinking poisoned Kool-Aid or like
Yeah.
waiting for an alien vessel hidden behind Hale Bopp, right? So like the
Yeah.
Jonestowns, the Heaven's
Yeah.
Gate
There you go.
people. Um,
Oh
and
yeah.
so, people actually doing or believing in those things might seem like absolutely unthinkable, right? Unbelievable. How could anyone ever fall for that kind of stuff? But actually, cults, which are also sometimes referred to as new religious movements, have been around for centuries. And they get you, man. They can be far more seductive and insidious than people realize. So tonight, we're going to talk about two lesser known cults, actually two currently active cults, and we're going to talk about if you yourself might be susceptible to the lure of a new religious movement. So first of all, Grace, how would you define a cult?
How would I define a cult?
Yeah.
Um, I think a cult is it started by one person, usually a leader that basically convinces a ton of people that are usually like very susceptible. They're usually desperate people, kind of looking for some sort of fix and some sort of like happiness. And then
Hmm.
usually they're all always guarded off from the world and reality. So that way, the only reality they know is within the cult situation. And that's where a
Hmm.
lot of the brainwashing and like
Hmm.
mind control happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the modern definition is generally a social group characterized by unusual religious, spiritual, or philosophical beliefs, or its common interest in a particular personality, object, or goal. By this definition, just about any group can be called a cult, but Robert J. Lifton, a psychiatrist who once taught at Harvard Medical School, wrote a paper called Cult Formation in the early 1980s, in which he outlined 3 primary characteristics, which are the most common features shared by destructive cults. The very first one is, as J. Cash says, a charismatic leader. Yep. Who increasingly becomes an object of worship, who has no
Yes.
meaningful accountability, and becomes the single most defining element of the group and its source of power and authority.
Yeah.
The second is a process of indoctrination or education that can be seen as coercive persuasion, thought reform, or
Yes.
brainwashing,
Yeah.
which he brought
Yep.
up. Many of the group, members of the group, will do things that are not in their own best interest, but consistently in the best interest of the group and its leader. Womp womp womp.
Mm-hmm.
And then exactly like cheese, it's Christ. Exactly. The third characteristic is economic, sexual, or other exploitation of group members by the leader and the other highest ranking members of the group.
Yep. This all
Yeah.
checked off all the boxes.
Yeah. Yikes. Yeah, exactly. Big ups to Jimmy Jones. Yeah. So most people are aware. I was gonna
Yes.
say most people are aware of Jim
Yes.
Jones, Jonestown, right?
Yes.
Heaven's Gate, the disaster
Right.
in Waco, Texas. But there are some lesser known cults here in the U.S. and throughout the world. Some of which who have members who still practice today. So the very first one that we're gonna talk about is Love Has Won. Grace, have you heard about
Oh,
this one? This one was in the news in like 2020. Did you hear about
love
this
has
cult?
won.
Yeah, did you see this? Have you heard
Uh,
about this?
it
No,
sounds
that's all right. I'm going to
familiar,
tell you.
but I can't. Yeah, tell me.
I'm
I
going to
didn't
tell you all
study
about it.
anything because you told me not to.
Good. I'm
So I
glad.
didn't try. I
Good.
didn't try to bone up on any talking points about it. I
Good.
just want to hear it and be
Good. So
surprised.
so in here I didn't talk about any of like the big ones, right?
Yeah.
These are some of the smaller ones, but still absolutely ridiculous,
Love
very
has won. That
strange.
sounds super familiar.
I wanted to do more, but I just I was like 5 pages deep and was like I can't do any more. Okay, so the very first one is called Love Has Won, and it was started by Amy Carlson.
Oh, yep.
Amy Carlson grew up in Dallas, Texas, and was a straight A student. Things took a turn in the mid 2000s, though, when she developed an interest in New Age philosophy
Okay.
and became a regular contributor to
Oh my goodness.
lightworkers.org, which describes
Ah.
itself on its Facebook page as a quote, spiritual social networking community for
Oh
all people
damn.
seeking to connect with other lightworkers, spiritual seekers, star seeds, wanderers, indigo children, and multidimensional beings, end quote.
I get those invitations all the time. Cut them
I'm
up. I
sure
know.
you do. This is the twin flame cult. Yes, this is it. Oh well, okay,
Yes.
maybe not.
Oh
But there,
my
okay. So
god.
she does talk about her twin flame. We'll get there. We're gonna get there. Okay, so on this website, she met a man who called himself Amaranth White Eagle. So here's Amy and Amaranth White Eagle. Look at this catch of a man.
Oh my god.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh
And
damn.
he would be a major influence on her. Amy said she
Is he?
began
Is.
experiencing paranormal phenomena, like hearing
Uh-huh.
an ethereal voice that told her she would one day become the president of the United States.
Oh no. I think they're on drugs.
Uh, Maybe. So, uh, so, uh, she described this guy, White Eagle, Amaranth White Eagle,
Mm-hmm.
who like, whatever. Talk about like native appropriation.
What's
Like,
yeah, what is he? Is he
okay,
holding an
a lighter.
inhaler?
He's got a lighter. No, it's a lighter.
Oh,
He's got a
kind
green
of like,
lighter in his
oh
hand.
yeah. Okay, okay. It kind of looks like an inhaler.
Right. So she described him as her twin flame, and he
Mm.
told her and convinced her that she was God.
Oh
So
geez.
she decided to leave her husband, who was her third husband, her children, she had 3 children, and her job as a manager at McDonald's to go to Colorado to meet this guy White Eagle, and fulfill her mission of awakening every human on the planet.
Oh,
The
jeez
two started a
Louise.
YouTube channel together
Oh
where they called
no.
themselves Mother God and Father God.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
yes, look at this. Look at you, living her best life here.
Uh-huh.
Um, Unfortunately, their holy partnership didn't last, and Amy stopped playing second fiddle to White Eagle, asserting herself as a deity. And then throughout her time, as you know,
Yes.
as a head of this cult and calling herself Mother God, every like man that she like got into a relationship with was called Father God. Interesting.
Yeah.
So she gained followers through her YouTube channel, found a new lover, who her followers claimed she healed of lung cancer, and
Oh
established
damn.
Love Has Won as a 501c3 charity.
Oh my
From
god.
2014 to 2018, the group grew and believed that Amy had been reincarnated 534 times, with past
Okay.
lives including Marilyn Monroe, Joan of Arc, Cleopatra, and as MLav said, Cheez-Its Christ.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Yeah. How like
Wow.
do you have to be to believe that you are the second coming of not only of Jesus Christ, but of Cleopatra, Joan of Arc, and Marilyn Monroe? She really thought she was something else.
Well, if you are a manager of McDonald's, there has to be a breaking point. You
I
know what I
guess
mean?
so.
I feel
I
like
guess
I can do
so.
anything now because I managed a McDonald's. I am a deity. Like
Yeah. The
I,
lesson
I,
here is don't work at McDonald's.
I mean, right? You leave your dead self behind and you become a new being.
Exactly. A new being.
Yeah. You
So
tell by the
she told
plastic crown on her head.
yeah, the
True
plastic
deity
crown.
wear
Yep.
right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. So she told her followers that she was destined to lead 144,000 people into a mystical fifth dimension, and she believed
Oh.
that Donald Trump was her father in a past life. She, I know. Yeah.
Of all the
Uh,
people,
yeah. Among other some of this other crazy stuff that they espoused, they were also like QAnon people too.
oh God.
Yeah. She claimed to speak to the spirit of Robin Williams, who she said was the Archangel Zadkiel.
I believe it. I believe that.
So yeah, that number is familiar, Abolish. I think I can't remember. I saw it somewhere else in reading about this stuff, and I think it might have had something to do with Latter-day Saints, actually, which
Oh,
I think are either the same or very similar to the Seventh-day Adventists. I think the Seventh-day Adventists actually like separated from the Latter-day Saints, but I
oh
didn't
my
get to. I
goodness.
wanted to get to
Too
Latter-day Saints.
many.
I didn't get to it. So we'll have to do that another day. We'll do like religious cults. Well,
Right, there's so
you know what I
many.
mean.
There's so
There's
many.
so many.
It's insane.
Yeah. Okay, so so Amy was surrounded by a core group of about 12 to 20 followers. That was her like tight knit group who relocated with her from Colorado to Hawaii. But
Oh.
they were met with fierce protests by the local natives when she declared herself to be like the reincarnation of the Hawaiian goddess Pele. They
Oh
did not like that.
no. Oh
They threw like
no.
rocks and eggs at her house. And the mayor of Kauai had to negotiate with the group to get the island to go back to Colorado.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They were like, no, you
Wow.
can't. No, you have to leave now. You've created a problem. As if like the Hawaiians hadn't already had enough of white people showing up in Hawaii and like
Yeah.
whatever. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Or should I say
Jesus
Mother
Christ.
God.
Mother God.
So in 2020, they relocated again to California and lived in an RV park, but were asked to leave due to overcrowding. So it was
Wow.
so they went back to Colorado.
This is why
But
they're going to get to the fifth
unfortunately,
dimension. This
right,
dimension does not want them.
right. Yeah. How are you going to get to the fifth dimension when you can't even live in an RV park in California? Yikes. So anyway, so it was back to Colorado, but Amy's health was declining. She had cancer and was paralyzed from the waist down.
Oh my
So this is actually
God, girl.
a photo that was ever taken of her alive. You can see that she's like emaciated. Her skin's a weird color. Then on April 28th, 2021, and this is when it really hit the news, one of her followers told the police that there was a dead body at his house. When the authorities arrived, they found the corpse of Amy Carlson, who had been dead for a long time, wrapped in a sleeping bag strung with Christmas lights. Her eyes were missing and her face was covered in glitter. They had made a makeshift shrine. One There were like people still living in the house. Two of her children were still in the house. One of the authorities said that he'd never seen a group of people so nonchalant about a dead body just being in the
Oh
house.
my God.
Yeah, her eyes were missing. Her face was covered in glitter. Her skin, you can see it better in this photo, was a bluish, and her autopsy showed that she had been ingesting large amounts of colloidal silver, which the group had been promoting as a COVID-19 cure.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, not
Oh my
great.
God.
Members of the group reported that while they were part of the cult, they were subjected to physical abuse, sleep deprivation, where they were only allowed to sleep 4 to 5 hours a night, and brainwashing. After Amy's death, some of her followers formed a new group called Joy Reigns under the leadership of Jason Castillo, who was her latest twin flame, who now goes by Father God.
Oh jeez. Too many father gods.
I know, right? Only one mother god, which,
I was
at
gonna
least she's
say,
trying to
yeah.
smash the patriarchy there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, not great. There was also some speculation that like one of her father gods, the one before this Jason guy, a guy named Miguel, was actually like the brains behind a lot of what was going on, like the charity and the money and the the donations and stuff. They would do over YouTube. They would do what they called like surgical like healings, and they charged $88.
Oh, is that like oh shoot, what's that stuff called?
Reiki, like when
When
people do long
yeah,
distance
Reiki.
Reiki.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They just did it on
yeah,
YouTube, but they charge $80.
yeah, yeah.
Mm, mm,
So that's
see?
Love is One. Very upsetting. Very bad.
So so the dead body was her,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
right? Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
okay.
They
That
just
they just
kept. She
kept as a
died.
shrine.
Yep. And they just like, and for weeks, like weeks. Like the reason her eyes were missing is because they had decomposed. Yeah.
Oh God. And
I
they covered her
know.
face in glitter. Like
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. Weird. She was like partially mummified.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Gross.
That is
Okay. Well, the next one we're going to
wow.
talk about.
Ready. I'm
This
ready.
one I think a lot of people know about. It's called Nxivm, and there's like a way to say it, but I don't know how to say it. And if you have
NXIVM.
HBO, you may have seen commercials, or maybe you even saw the documentary called The Vow. And that's what this one was. And I was pretty much, this is pretty much just a summary of the Wikipedia page, but that's okay. Here we go. Nxivm.
Okay.
In 1998, this fucking guy, Keith Rainier,
Yep.
and his
Uh-huh.
friend Nancy Salzman, founded NXIVM, a personal development company or a multi-level marketing company offering,
Mhm.
quote,
Mhm.
executive success programs and a range of techniques for
Mhm.
self-improvement.
Mm.
Rainier claimed that its main emphasis is to have people experience more joy in their lives. During
Mhm.
seminars, students would call Rainier and Salzman Vanguard and Prefect, respectively.
Mhm.
Yikes. Oh, yeah. I know. Yeah. Sweet Al. We'll get there. Sweet Alice and Mack. Yeah. Yeah. We'll get
Oh
there.
my
Very
goodness.
sad.
I remember
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, not good. By 2003, so 5 years later, 3,700 people had taken part in ESP classes, including some like famous folks, like the daughter of like Mexico's president. NXIVM's training is a trade secret subject to non-disclosure agreements, but reportedly uses a technique the organization calls rational inquiry to facilitate personal and professional development. After actress Kristen Cruick became involved with NXIVM in 2006, Salzman and her daughter Lauren, a junior NXIVM leader, went to Vancouver to recruit Cruick's Smallville co-star Allison Mack. Remember Allison Mack?
Oh my goodness,
Remember this
yes, I love
girl?
her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she oh, why can't I let me scroll. She was on Smallville.
No, I know that was my favorite show.
I loved Smallville. I loved
Me
this show.
too.
Yeah, alas, yes. Alas. So
Yes.
yeah, it was V bad. So Lauren bonded with Mack. The two women eventually became Rainier's inner circle and his sexual partners.
Oh,
Her friend
jeez.
Cruick, however, left NXIVM in 2013. This girl, Mack, became an enthusiastic proselyte. I can't say the word. I'm not going to say it. An enthusiastic supporter
There you go.
for NXIVM, persuading her parents to take courses. And after
Oh.
wrapping production of Smallville in 2011, moved to Clifton Park, New York to be near NXIVM's home base in Albany.
Oh my
The
goodness,
group
what
reportedly
happened
kept.
to you?
I know. Like, what the hell? It
I
just sucks. Yeah, this is a good point. When you spent a year of your life or 10 grand on something, you'll go to great lengths to avoid recognizing it as stupid. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the sunk cost.
That's true.
Yep,
That's true.
absolutely. Blah blah blah. The group reportedly kept dossiers on critics of the group. According to the Times Union, NXIVM developed a reputation for aggressively pursuing critics and defectors who broke from its ranks, including using litigation to punish critics of Rainier, the organization, or its training methods. NXIVM
Right.
has
I
been
kind of
described as a
remember this.
pyramid
Yeah.
scheme, a sex trafficking organization, a cult, and a sex cult. Jesus Christ. In a 2010 Times Union article, former NXIVM coaches characterized students as, quote, prey for Rainier's sexual or gambling related proclivities. An October 2017 article in the New York Times details began to emerge about Dominus Obsequious Sororum, a secret sisterhood that started in 2015 within this cult, NXIVM,
Oh my goodness.
in which
Cult within a
female
cult.
members were allegedly called slaves, branded with the initials of Rainier and Mack. There it is. That's a brand.
What?
Yeah. Here's a brand. You can kind of see the little R inside of it. Here's another one. KR for Rainier. Yeah, it's
Jesus.
gross.
Oh.
Yeah. Right? What the
Oh my
hell?
God.
Yeah, branded with their initials, subjected to corporal punishment from their masters, and required to provide nude photos or other potentially damaging information about themselves as collateral. Which is also a thing the Church of Scientology does as well. Who I also wanted to get to, but I didn't
I
have
was gonna
time.
say, yeah, yeah.
I really wanted to talk about them, but I didn't get to do it. Sarah Edmondson, a Canadian actress who had been an ESP participant since 2005, said that she left NXIVM after Mack inducted her into DOS the previous March at her Albany home. Edmondson alleged that participants were blindfolded naked, held down by Mack and 3 other women, and branded by NXIVM affiliated doctor Danielle Roberts using a cauterizing pen. So that's upsetting.
Do not. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Not
You're in
good.
it at that point. Jesus.
Yeah. On December 15th, 2017, the ABC News Magazine 2020 aired an expose including interviews with many former adherents. In March 2018, Rainier was arrested and indicted on charges related to DOS, or, whatever they called it, Dominus Obsequia Sororum, including sex trafficking conspiracy, and forced labor. On April 20th, 2018, Mack was arrested and indicted on similar charges. Rainier was eventually found guilty of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, attempted sex trafficking conspiracy, forced labor conspiracy, and wire fraud conspiracy, and sentenced to 120 years in prison.
Jesus, yes.
Yay! Alex Mack. I'm sorry, not Alex Mack.
Oh.
I keep thinking of Alex Mack. Remember that show?
Yeah.
The girl that turned into a puddle?
Yep. I was thinking that too at first. I was like, oh, wait, no. Allison Mack.
Yes, Allison. She pleaded guilty to racketeering conspiracy and was sentenced to 3 years.
Okay.
In January of 2020, a federal lawsuit was filed in New York accusing Rainier and 14 associates of conducting illegal psychological experiments on members of the company and abusing them physically, emotionally, and financially. Then on August 23rd, 2020, The Vow, a documentary series about Nxivm, premiered on HBO. And I think right now 2 seasons are available to watch if you're interested.
Yeah,
yes, The Secret Life of Alex Mack. That's what it was.
Yes. That was a great show.
The
This is not it. This isn't it.
Mack. Yeah. Bad. Very bad.
She looks so different here.
I know, right?
Sad.
Ugh. Very upsetting.
All the life is gone from her.
I know. Oh.
I totally remember when all that came out, though. I was like, what? Remember her in the news. Yeah.
Do you think you could ever get to the point, like you must, right, when you get to the point that someone is branding you, right?
I think it's just like you're so far gone mentally, you know what I mean? Like you probably get so beat down that it becomes that like they're so desperate to get all of whatever attention that they can from the leader, from whatever, because that's how they build a relationship. So they're like, yes, I will brand if it means that I can be a part of your life forever,
It's just so baffling to me. It's crazy. It's so, wild how, I can understand, being at a low point and someone's like, oh, listen, we're all, magical, spiritual beings, and, we're all part of the universe, and everyone's connected, and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay, yeah, I'm into that. That feels good. But then when it gets to the sex trafficking and branding, when is the moment that you're like, wait a second?
But there's also usually, right, the flip side where it's then they get too scared. If they're in that deep, then all of a sudden they get too scared because usually they're getting pressure put on them, or there's, you know what I mean? Or threats or something if they leave. So it's they're almost trapped.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I guess that's one of those things. You just have to. This might be TMI, but there's some ex-boyfriends definitely have some naughty photos floating around, and it has occurred to me that it's possible that as revenge, one of my exes might put those out into the world, and so I've just had to decide that if it happens, it happens, and it's not me that's the bad guy, it's them,
Yeah.
I feel I know that they have shit on you, but they branded you with a fucking cauterizing pen. That's insane. Ugh. Okay.
Yep.
The next one is more fun, but sadly I don't have any pictures for this one because I ran out of time.
Okay. Well,
this one is called. Yes.
I can draw.
This is the best one. Yeah, right. This is the best one to use your imagination about anyway. But you should Google it because this is hilarious. Hold on, I just gotta make sure I've got my pages in order. I do. Okay. This one is called Realism. Realism is a UFO religion. This one's mine. This is mine.
Yep. This is for you.
That was founded in the 1970s in France by Claude Vorilon. now known
Oh,
as Rael.
okay. Oh,
Claude
this
was
sounds
raised in
familiar.
France
Yeah.
by his grandmother as an atheist. Was raised by his grandmother and his aunt as an atheist. He attended boarding school there and eventually hitchhiked to Paris, where he pursued a singing career and had several successful singles under the name Claude Seller. He married a
Okay.
nurse and had 2 children. He was interested in auto racing and was a journalist about that kind of stuff. In the 1970s, there had been a range of reported UFO sightings, and the ancient astronaut theory was, quote, very much in vogue in the country by the middle of that decade. No, I couldn't find the information like what like spurred this other than that piece of information. But in 1974, Claude announced that the previous December he had been abducted by the Elohim, an alien race who created humankind while he was walking along the Puy La Solis mountain.
Okay.
He began promoting his ideas in interviews on French television and radio. He began lecturing on his alleged experiences in Paris, where he attracted a group of followers. Raelism teaches that an extraterrestrial species known as the Elohim created humanity using their advanced technology. Although it's an atheistic religion, it does follow, like Catholic centric doctrine. But it believes that the Elohim have historically been mistaken for gods. It claims that throughout history, the Elohim have created 40 Elohim/human hybrids who have served as prophets, preparing humanity for news about their origins. Among those considered prophets are the Buddha, Jesus, and Muhammad, with
Okay.
Rael, Claude,
Yeah.
himself being the 40th and final prophet. Realists believe that since the Hiroshima bomb of 1945, humanity has entered an age of apocalypse in which it threatens itself with nuclear annihilation, which, isn't necessarily entirely crazy,
Untrue. Yeah. Yeah.
considering recent news events. Realism argues that humanity must find a way of harnessing new scientific and technological development for peaceful purposes. And once this has been achieved, the Elohim shall return to Earth to share their technology with humanity and establish a utopia. Which sounds very close to Star Trek, right? The Vulcans show up in
Mm-hmm.
like 2045 or something like that because we discover warp technology. Listen, I'm just saying, so far, so good. I'm on Rail's side.
I was gonna say this one sounds the most like realistic.
Yeah, absolutely.
I could see this. I could see this. Yeah.
Just hold on though for a second.
Okay. Okay. I was
just
gonna say
just
I
just
know
hold
there's a
that thought.
turn. I
Hold
know
that
there's a
thought.
turn. Ready. It's like once it hits that point, I'm like, yeah. I can get into this. This is the
Yeah.
point where we go from just thinking about it to the real crazy people jump into it, and the other people are like, wait a second, that doesn't sound right. Okay.
Yes. After Rael had beamed up to a spaceship in 1973, he completed his first scripture called The Book Which Tells the Truth.
That's a great title.
Oh my god. Okay. Over time, Rael argued that argued in these prophecies that the pristine human gene pool had been clouded. Ooh, that's starting to sound a little yucky. It
Yep.
was his job to
Mm-hmm.
help purify it. Ooh, that doesn't sound great.
Mm.
What's crazy is that he is actually the son of a Jew who was, I think, captured by the Nazis. This guy was born in 1945, and now he's walking around
Oh,
talking about cleansing the human gene pool. Like, fuck, dude. Okay.
wow.
Uh, in the beginning, that meant treating sex only for pleasure, not procreation, as designer cloning would soon eliminate the need for traditional childbearing. In this view, the anatomical differences between man and woman were merely designed for one form of sexual pleasure, but otherwise, gender was irrelevant. Instead, Rael taught sex unity, or erotic plurality, between and among all genders. Again, very progressive, right? But
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
What was that thing you said about purifying the gene pool?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
His followers planned frequent seminars wherein Raelians, Raelians
Yeah. Yeah.
would abandon their preconceived sexual preferences and monogamous boundaries. So they had orgies. Stretching one's libido was an intellectual exercise for Raelians, according to the Daily Dot's Two Girls, One podcast. Thought to replenish brain cells, practice self actualization, and potentially communicate with the Elohim directly. This sexual meditation would become a core element of the religion.
This sounds just like the teachings of Jesus and Buddha
Absolutely.
that he's
Absolutely.
the incarnation of. Yeah.
Paul just goes beef. Yikes. Raelians, I can't even say it. Raelians have sent missions, like literal, like religious missions, to
Oh.
attract followers to Canada, Japan, Australia, Africa, all over the place. In 1992, a schism appeared in the religion as a group of about 40 practitioners were expelled. They formed a rival, smaller group called the Apostles of the Last Days, espousing the belief that Rael, Claude, right, had been the original spokesman of the Elohim, but had been taken over by Satan.
Oh. Oh. Yeah. That makes sense.
Could it be Satan? That same year, the Raelian movement bought 115 hectares in Quebec, naming the property the Garden of the Prophet. It was here in 1997 that the organization opened UFO Land, a museum
Oh,
about
that's
ufology.
fun.
Yeah, right. I think in 2009 they actually said that they were going to open another one in Las Vegas, but I don't think that they ever did. I'm not sure if they ever did.
Oh,
And in
okay.
case you were thinking this sounds mostly harmless so far, Rael had several wives. In 2001, Rael toured Asia giving seminars. That year, he married for a second time, or I also saw that this was his third wife as well, to
Okay.
a 16-year-old ballet student. In
Oh.
2001, he married a
Oh,
16-year-old.
jeez.
And he was born in
Oh.
45, so he was like
Oh.
50 something, 56.
Oh boy. Oh
Uh,
boy.
which what also is interesting is that Raelism discourages marriage. And in this instance, it was done
Unless
for
you are red.
expediency because he'd been questioned by customs officials when traveling with her across borders.
Okay.
He tried to take her
Okay.
across the border, and
Mm-hmm.
they were like, "Oh, you can't do that, man. She's 16." And he was like,
She's my wife.
right? Oh my God, Chief, please."
Jesus. Oh my God. Chief, please.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Um. So I think this guy's still alive. And they were actually the ones who did. I forget what year it was. Maybe it was like 2018. There was like a topless, like march through the streets of New York City, and it was like like a feminist thing. It was marketed
Yeah.
as like, oh, it's a
Yeah.
feminist thing, to desexualize the female body.
Yeah.
And like it was it was covered by lots of like news outlets and stuff, but what they didn't say is that it was funded by these guys, by the fucking it was organized and funded by them, by the Raelists, uh by the Raelians. Raelism is
Okay.
considered the largest UFO religion in the world. In 2014, it boasted 90,000 members worldwide.
Wow.
So it still exists. It's very big.
Are you gonna
It's
join?
wild.
Is the next question. Are you gonna join?
Listen, I'm down for the ancient aliens. I'm down for the Elohim. I'm down for the UFOs. I'm down for the orgies, but I am not down for cleansing the gene pool.
Yeah. Is he still on that? He's still on that point?
So again, I like was running out of time to do all this research. And he claims to have created the first human clone, but I didn't get all the information about that.
With his
Uh
16-year-old wife?
I don't know. I just kept seeing that he like he claims to have created the first human clone, but I was like, how? Where? Like, where's the other contextual information around that? And I never found it. Um, very
Mm,
upsetting. Yeah, I really wanted to talk about the fundamentalist Latter-day Saints and the Church of Scientology, but there's just no way.
yeah.
There was just no way I was going to get there. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is who is susceptible to joining a cult? Uh,
Many people.
many
With the way
people.
this society is right now,
Yeah,
many more people.
yeah. So, contrary to popular belief, it's not generally stupid or mentally ill people who generally join cults. Although there are no like specific personality types that make a person more likely to join a cult, studies have shown that there are certain demographics of people who are more likely to fall victim. Uh,
Ready.
Grace, what demographics of people do you believe or do you think are more likely to join a cult?
Poor people.
What else? Anything else? You got any other ideas?
Uh, what demographic?
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably, I don't know. Young kids, right? Teenagers. Probably people having midlife crises. Uh,
Yeah, you're 2 for 3, friend. You're 2 out of 3. Um,
yes.
so yeah, chat also put it in the chat. What types of
What
people
do
do
you
you think are
think?
more
What
likely
do
to
you
join a cult?
think?
Um,
Hungry
so
people, homeless.
hungry people. So actually, uh, people with a higher level of education are more likely to join a cult.
I could see that.
Yeah. Experts speculate that this may be because people pursuing or holding higher degrees have a higher likelihood of being open minded when presented with new information. They tend to take in and process ideas and arguments before criticizing or rejecting them. From a cult's perspective, they need people who are willing to listen to new ideas without prejudice, who are unafraid of new ideas. Without an inquisitive nature in its members, the cult may not have a chance to grow and thrive. So that was
That's
interesting to
true.
me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I assumed it would be the opposite, but no, it's people with more education. Also, Grace, it's not the poor. People who join cults are disproportionately from middle to upper middle class backgrounds.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. They're
'Cause
more
usually they
financially
want
well
money.
off, right,
Yeah.
and have more time to pursue interests outside of work. Yeah, nerds beware.
Yes.
Yeah, they have money to travel, right, to
That's
a cult's
true. Yep.
headquarters. They're able to contribute to the cult financially, which is really important to most cults.
Very true.
Mhm. Yeah, and
Okay.
they have the resources to up and relocate to a new place with other cult members. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
That makes sense.
Uh, and people of any age are potentially vulnerable to the lure of destructive cult. But like you said, Grace, studies show that young people in particular are more likely to fall victim. About 2/3 of those studied have been normal young people persuaded to join groups in periods of personal crisis, like you said,
Yep.
such as
Mm-hmm.
ending a romantic relationship, job loss, or failure to get the job or into the college of their choice.
Yep.
Young people are also typically in a transitional period of self discovery and are struggling to define their own identity and may
Right.
seek a sense of belonging outside of school and home.
Because they're like, no one understands me. And then this
Right.
cult leader's like, I understand you. Here's free drugs.
Right. So additionally, there are some personality traits that could make you more inclined to have your interest piqued by a cult. In the
Oh
chat, all right,
no.
chat, I want you to
It's
count
gonna be
along.
me.
How many of these traits do you identify with? Put
It's
your
gonna be
final
all
number
me.
in the
I'm
chat.
ready.
Chat. So it's a higher level of education, middle or upper class, right, and young, right. So those are the first. Young, I would say how would you maybe like 20, 26 and
Yeah.
younger, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm not
I
in
would
that
say,
one.
yeah, like 18 to like 24 or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I've already got one because I do have a higher level of education. So I got 1 out of 3 so far. Okay, so Here are some personality traits identified by experts that make you more inclined to end up in a cult. The first is a desire to belong, wanting to
Oh,
belong,
jeez. Yep. I mean, who
right?
does
Oh
have a
boy.
desire to belong, though?
That's true. That's true. The inability to say no or express criticism or doubt.
That's me a little bit.
Gullibility or an impaired capacity to question critically what one is told, observes, thinks, and so forth. Not so much anymore, but I'm still pretty gullible. Like,
Yeah.
I fall victim to many a prank. Um, a low tolerance for ambiguity, the need for answers, or an impatience to obtain answers. I definitely have that one.
That's you.
Definitely.
That can be me as well. Yep.
Yeah.
I like answers.
Here's I think everyone has this one. Cultural disillusionment,
Yep.
alienation, dissatisfaction with the status quo, idealism. The next one is susceptibility to trance-like states. In some cases, perhaps due to prior hallucinogenic drug experiences.
All right. That's me.
Yeah, Grace likes the Sid. She's always dropping Sid. A lack of self-confidence.
Jesus.
I know. Laugh goes, LOL. Guess I'm joining a cult. A desire
We'll
for
create an old
spiritual
people's cult, MLab, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
She
It's gonna be
I'm
fine.
old.
Yeah, let's get culty. Emotional instability, being always sad or angry. Difficulty taking accountability for themselves,
That's
and
not me.
ignorance of how groups can manipulate individuals.
Uh,
So, Grace, what was your final
okay.
number?
I wasn't counting.
I told you to count.
Sorry.
All right, mine was
You
8.
told you
My
said the
final number
chat.
was 8. I have 8.
I probably have 8 too. We'll go with I have 8 as well.
Okay. Okay, we'll just say you have 8. So yeah, so MLab abolished. Jess, anyone else in the chat? How many did you get? How many did you relate to?
Are we making a cult here right
Yeah, we might be
now?
making a cult.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, I also wanted to put like, could your spiritual group be a cult and talk about characteristics of that, but we don't have time because I want to talk about. Oh, Abolish says he had 5 or 6, or they had 5 or 6. Okay. Okay, so I want to talk about this TikTok cult.
Oh,
And
jeez.
Grace, you got to be on the
Wait.
chat because I can't see it anymore. Okay, so this comes from the New York Post. TikTok dancer's family claims she's a victim of LA-based cult.
Oh my goodness. There's so many TikTok. Because I'm thinking like 3
Yeah,
other cults TikTok. I don't even know this dance one.
yeah. Miranda Wilking Derrick has not spoken to her family since January of last year. Her sister and parents alleged in a tearful Instagram video that's gone viral and sparked myriad conspiracy theories. In 2021, Derek joined the entertainment management firm 7M Films, which some on TikTok claims doubles as the Shekinah Church or Shekinah Church, I'm not sure, a
Okay.
Pentecostal religious sect that people believe is a
Oh
cult.
no.
And it is because the guy, I forget his name, but the guy who owns 7M Films is also the leader of this church. So like, so Miranda's sister Melanie spoke at length alongside her parents in a video posted on February 24th, in which they beg for Miranda's safety and her to return home, alleging that she's being held hostage by 7M. The New York Post reached out to her and 7M Films. Miranda has denied being involved in a cult, but didn't directly address any of the concerns her family brought up. She separated from her family when the sisters were supposed to fly from LA back home to Michigan for their grandfather's funeral last year. Miranda informed her parents she wouldn't be coming home and claimed her family wouldn't understand why. Her parents said they flew out to LA to see Miranda for themselves, saying that their daughter stood in front of them and was totally different. She had odd behavior. Miranda cut off and blocked her family, which was very weird because the sisters used to be attached at the hip. The sisters, Miranda and what's the other one's name? Melanie. So Miranda's the one who's in the cult. Miranda and Melanie were very popular on their own TikTok channel. They used to do dances together. And then Miranda married this guy named James, James Derrick, who was already involved in 7M, I think. And if you've heard of the TikTok dancer mansion, it's owned by 7M. That's them.
Oh.
Yeah. So in the video, the one that was posted in February, Miranda's mother says she hasn't spoken to her on the phone since January 18th of 2021 and claims that the family didn't even know Miranda got married to a fellow dancer, James Derrick.
Wow.
They say it all began when Miranda joined the 7M Films management company. 7M Films is an arm of the Shekinah Church, which is based on the 7 Mountain Mandate, a verse from Isaiah 2:2. This particular belief movement with emotion-based faith ideology originated in 1975 and is followed by 25% of the world's Christians, a staggering growth from 6% in the 1980s. Actually, that woman who was Donald Trump's spiritual advisor, she's one of these 7 Mountain Mandate people.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I forgot that woman existed.
Yeah. So one of the 7 mandates, so the idea of the seven mandates is that there's 7 parts of culture that you need to get into to purify, in preparation for the end of the world. And media is one of them. So that's why this guy who owns 7M Films and is the head of this church, is trying to infiltrate and trying to get these TikTok people to then spread his message, right? But Miranda says that it's not a cult, they're not part of the church, it's not a big deal. But her sister claims
off from communicating with her
family. Right. But she's saying that she chose to do that. So she posted a thing on her Instagram a while ago saying that denying that she hasn't spoken to her family. She says that she's communicated to her parents in the past year multiple times. A year ago, I decided to move out of living with her sister Melanie. Even after all of that, I was still willing to work with Melanie on our TikTok account to make things work on terms we both wanted. I wanted to start a new life with James, but I also wanted to continue working together with Melanie. Then I was kicked out of the 3.1 million follower TikTok account that I originally started and had Melanie join. I asked if I could have access to it so we could continue our TikTok account together, but she refused to grant me access. After constant back and forth over this, I finally let Melanie have full access over that account, so it forced me to start all over. So she's saying that Melanie kicked her off of the account, and that's why they had a falling out. She says she's not involved in a religious cult. She says, regarding the statement saying that none of us are speaking to our families, I can say that everyone in my management group speaks and communicates with their families. It's just my unique situation where I am not speaking to my family as often as I used to because they were not supportive of the decisions I made.
Who would have ever thought that there would be family breakup over a Twitter or a TikTok account?
Right. I mean, it actually makes a ton of sense. Of course, these predatory people would go after TikTok. Of course.
Yeah.
That makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, because they can totally promote all of their stuff to tons of people way faster. Oh my god.
Yep.
These poor kids.
I refuse. I don't want to show up in my fucking FYP. So I didn't look up any of these TikTok things on my TikTok. I didn't want to, but if you want to, maybe like make a second TikTok account or some shit
Ah,
and look it up. But Grace, we are 4 minutes over.
okay.
Do you have any final thoughts on cults? Do you think you're more susceptible today than you were yesterday, or?
No, I still think I will create one maybe one day. Not on purpose. I don't think I'm gonna do it on purpose, but then maybe I will veer to purpose. It won't be malicious, I don't think.
Listen,
But I'm
I've been
also
talking about.
surprised all the cults that are like just the TikTok. Because I like when you said the TikTok, I was like, oh, that one, this one, and then you bring up a whole other one that I didn't even know, and I'm just like, wow,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, we're
It's
in the
crazy.
time of cult society right now, for
I
sure.
know. I mean, I have been talking about I want to make a secret society. I feel like that's
Yeah.
different than a cult. Secret
Yeah,
society is
secret
different than a cult,
society. Yeah.
right?
Okay. I'm down with that too.
Okay. Okay. Let's make
So
a secret society.
you do the secret society, and then I'll pull whoever over to the cult.
And that, my
The
friends, is
second
the difference
layer.
between me and Grace. I run the secret society, and she runs the cult. Grace, other than here on the Midnight Creepout, where could people find you?
Oh, excellent question. Here on 2MB every once in a while on shows like Simpress Me, your other show. That's it. I just make guest appearances. You can find me on Instagram, Gracie Lynn FTW. That's where I post most of my cult following stuff, which is pretty exciting and fun. And then how you can find me if I'm going to be any other place, which may be a possibility. We'll see how the
Yeah.
world continues to open up. Huh.
Yeah.
Now it's time for you to plug all of your endless shows.
All right. Well, friends, I plugged it before. I'm going to plug it again. UnionComedy.com. Tomorrow night is the Kerfuffle, a
Oh,
variety
right.
style comedy show. You never know what's going to happen at the Kerfuffle. It is tomorrow night at 9:30 p.m. at the Rockwell Theater. I'm in it. Britt's in it. MLev's in it. David is in
I'm
it. Lauren Powers
in
is in
the
it.
audience.
Grace is going to be in the audience. Uh, a bunch of people from the channel will be there. Unioncomedy.com to get tickets. And Grace, you're right. Monday nights at 7:30, I do Simpress Me, which is a show where I have a new guest every week, and they give me some sort of challenge to complete in The Sims 4. Very fun, very exciting, very dumb. We laugh a lot. I recently Ryan and I drove a sim to commit suicide. That was fucking wild.
Oh,
Um,
oh.
and then obviously the Midnight Creepout, the second and fourth Friday of the month, right here on 2MB Studios. Oh my God, Grace. Grace.
Ready. Ready.
Our next episode
Yeah.
is on Friday the
Wait.
13th.
Yes.
The very
Yeah.
first episode, which Grace will be hosting, is on the 13th, Friday the 13th at midnight.
Okay,
So,
it's giving me ideas now.
yeah. So you better be ready. You better come back. Make sure you come back and watch that. Grace, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having
Uh,
me.
I'm so excited that you're going to be here all the time from here on out.
Yeah, me
Uh,
too.
and folks in the chat, we hope you enjoyed yourself. We hope that you come back on Friday the 13th to watch Grace's first episode where she hosts. But most of all, we hope you're creeped out. Bye!